Okay, somebody want to make a motion to open the meeting?
I move to open the meeting.
All right.
Second.
Second. All right, we're going to do a roll call. All right, starting with Rachel.
Here. Aye.
Here.
Michael, yes or no? To open the meeting? We're doing roll call votes on everything. So Michael says yes, I say yes. Janet, you say yes to open the meeting? Okay. All right, looks like it's unanimous. Make sure you're not on mute, Janet. All right, so we're going to start with the minutes. Does anybody have any comments on the first set of minutes, which are from Monday, May 9th, 2024? And that was actually fairly short and got right to the point set of minutes. I love it. Anybody have any comments or proposed edits on that set of minutes?
Okay, let me go back to that. Oh my, that has to be on my phone. I'm sorry, I had to go back and forth. Okay.
There's a slight grammar error in EEA grants update. We may receive as opposed to received. Very easy fix.
Oh, very good. You're right. That's on page 1.
And the spacing error. And for this reason,
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I see. On page 2 at the top for this reason, there's just a little typo at that phrase. Okay, that's good eye.
Are we looking at the draft now? Is that it?
Okay, yep, it says draft minutes. It's very short from May.
Yeah,
9th.
I got it. I got it now. Okay.
So
all
let
right.
me go around. So Rachel's made a couple of proposed edits. James, do you have any proposed edits in
Right.
addition?
I do not.
Okay, I do not have any edits, so that leaves up to Janet if you want to take a moment and see if you have anything.
How fast do you want me to read? Okay.
It's this one's short.
I know. And it looks fine. From what Rachel said and was it Ed? I forget. I'm sorry. Michael. Who just said them? Jane. One of the two just said something. Okay. Yeah, that looks fine.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion
I move to approve the minutes.
as amended?
Yes, correct.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Okay, roll call starting with Rachel,
aye.
James,
Aye.
Michael,
Yes.
I, and Janet.
Aye. Yes.
So
Whichever
that,
you prefer.
thank you. Those minutes are adopted. Doing a great
Okay.
job on minutes. We're next go to the next minutes. And I did have a couple. This is the May 28th minutes, and this is the one where we had our guest star, Kathy Stanley, which is always great to have her join us.
Yeah.
I had a couple of edits, and Rachel took these minutes. Thank you. And we are going to put on the agenda for next time, I swear, in my oversight, electing a new secretary, because Rachel has graciously stepped forward and offered to take upon herself this arduous task.
Wow.
But I appreciate her stepping in as she has. So I just wanted to clarify, if you look, if I don't know if you have it in front of you, Rachel, if you look
I do. So
under the America Schools grant where it says Ms. Stanley is working with the team,
yeah.
I think just to clarify, so Joyce Husseini is the former head of facilities.
Yeah, I meant I didn't catch all of the names.
Right. And I think his name is Dennis Rigo, but I'm actually not sure. But so she, just to make sure, so she's one person, the next person, the new head of facilities, blah, blah, blah. And when you reference a few times in here, the sustainability committee,
Yeah.
I think this is called the energy and sustainability committee. And it's
Mhm.
referenced a few times in here.
Yeah.
And at the end of that paragraph, you say sustainability committee chair has previously gotten federal grants. I think that's maybe better to say previously been involved in pursuing federal grants because he works for the state of Rhode Island. I don't think they give him grants. Oh, and then under the second page, under section open meeting law complaint, just to clarify in the middle of the first paragraph, Ms. Cochran points out she has submitted the minutes to the town clerk's office. I don't have date timestamps, and I just do it by sending it by an email. So I would just end that as
Yeah, email. That's fine.
yeah, via email. That's fine.
Because that is the timestamp. So
Right. And then I think those were my proposed edits, and I'm just gonna see if James has any proposed edits.
I didn't make that meeting at all.
Okay, all right. Michael, proposed edits?
I'm good.
Okay, Janet, proposed edits?
I don't know if I was at that meeting. What was the date?
You weren't there.
Wasn't there?
You
Oh,
were not.
then I have nothing to say. I'm sorry.
All right. So, Michael, we want to make a motion to adopt the minutes as amended for May
So
22nd.
moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So that's a unanimous roll call vote on that. All right. We're doing really well with minutes. I don't really have to give a town meeting update because I think everybody was there.
Oh,
Other
yeah.
than to say that obviously the quote special town meeting Article 2 was defeated. Our Article 44 was passed. I think the takeaway, however, is also that there's a lot of climate skeptics, climate change skeptics.
Right.
And it is interesting the choices that people will make with their money. And I think it's a little unpredictable and idiosyncratic, but my takeaway was that they spent $500,000 on a lacrosse field.
Mm.
And people went up and said, $50,000 is a lot of money for climate change. So I just think that's interesting to know how the different perspectives of people, but I'm very happy that was successful and went well. So
Yeah.
don't have to go into any more detail because everybody was there. All right. So
Well
items.
done.
Thank
Rachel
you.
raised her hand.
And thank you. Oh, I'm sorry,
I
Rachel.
would just say, I think we could have pitched it a little differently, and maybe that would have made a difference in how people were engaging it. From my perspective, it seems like people were just trying to do, should we have a climate action plan committee part 2? And so nearly all of the comments were yes or no climate action plan. And I think we could have framed it as, this is backup funding. We need the backup funding because to get this grant. And there was one person who was sitting at the front table, I forget his name, who spoke very beautifully about why we needed contingency funding and how it was a slam dunk. And I think that in the future, that's a good framing to use because it sidesteps the climate change is real, climate change is not real. We're never going to get anywhere with that. This is cheaper for the town overall if we pass this. Give us 50,000 and we'll almost certainly give it back.
Right,
So-
right. And that was Tom Coulter actually who got up and spoke. So that's the town manager, I think that
Ah.
you're referring to. And yes,
Okay.
he did. He was enormously helpful. And my credit to Laura, who's not here, who sort of invited him to come up. And I thought
Mhm.
that was kind of like a turning point because
Yeah.
he's got a lot of credibility. So you're right, that was fabulous to have his support on that. So that leads into really the next step. And this is where I'm so grateful that I've been in touch with Tom Birmingham of the Canton Climate Action Plan Committee,
Mhm.
because I think that we're going to know sometime in August. I don't know if that's August 2nd or August 31st, whether we're getting the EEA grant, which MAPC is supposed to be applying for on our behalf. I feel like we want to hit the ground running. So either we're going to get a yay or nay on that grant, but the grant is just really a check, I believe, that EEA gives. We need to get an RFP going so that we get a consultant in the door
Right.
as soon as possible. So we do have the model of how they did it in Canton. I feel like, and certainly happy to engage with ideas or people who want to help with this. My next step is to speak to Fran, who is the procurement officer, and say, here's where we're at. We certainly don't want to wait till August to get this process going, which I presume is cumbersome and you have to go through a lot of things. So what should we do next? And then, should I just sort of using the Canton one as a model?
Mhm.
And I presume I'll circle back to the committee about the discretionary parts of this as far as getting this going. So I guess that would be the next step. If everybody thinks that we should move it forward as quickly as possible in the process.
Yep.
Okay. Those are my plans, and just see where Fran takes it. If she needs us to draft something up and, type something up, maybe she can give me a template and I can type parts of it in. And we can proceed with that. All right. So next part, and you'll be happy, this is going to be very quick. Number 4, MAPC support. So I emailed MAPC last week and said, you know, our article passed, we have our contingency funding. You know, what are the next steps? Can you come to a meeting, et cetera? So, and he was on vacation. I think he's coming back tomorrow. So hopefully by, you know, a Friday of this week, I'll get some information like, what are the next steps? You're going to come out to meet with us? You're going to come out to meet with, you know, certain town officials and us? Like, you know, how do you get this going? Because we're ready to go, but we really, they need to launch, you know,
Right.
they need to launch it. They need to get their plan going. So
Yeah.
clearly a very busy individual, but I will certainly pursue that. So that's what's going on with MAPC. All right. The next issue on the agenda, let me get my copy here, is my thoughts and our thoughts to be discussed about interim recommendations. So that was part of the original article because of the urgency of time and climate change. And there were probably we could spend hours probably talking about this, and probably lots of different ways to go about whether we want to go big, we want to go narrow. I think mine is kind of both going big and then going narrow. But when I thought about things such as, you know, go buy EV vehicles for the town, or go put in EV chargers, or go to this, it just lacked the specificity versus if we have a consultant come in who really has done these and knows the lay of the land, including funding sources, it could just be more effective. So I don't want to give something, and quite frankly, the thoughts would be if we, you know, whatever we adopt, which we're not going to adopt this, we need to have at least one more meeting, or however meetings we need, but hopefully by the end of July. I'd like to present it to the select board. I'd like to get on their agenda. I'd like to sit down. I'd say, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're thinking. Here's why we're thinking it. And maybe, you know, the recommendations would have a couple sentences or maybe even a paragraph for many of them, or for the ones that aren't obvious. So I guess I'm curious as to people's thoughts, what you think shouldn't be here, what you think is okay, what you think we're missing. And I can start with Rachel.
I know that I have been a proponent in the past of like going big and not letting naysayers stop us. I do think we should probably not even mention plastic water bottle purchases, because that's going to get taken out of context and there are bigger things on the agenda. So
James, your thoughts about plastic water bottles?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you called on me.
Oh, I did, James. I was just gonna, so that item alone, again, you've been very specific. That's a good way to get this discussion going. Your thoughts about the plastic bottles. I will just say, one of the town events I was at several months ago, I think it was about the downtown development area issues, and it had a great turnout. It was great. There was maybe 25, 30 people there. Everybody there were like little plastic water bottles handed out. All you had to do was like turn around, and there was a water fountain over there. You know, I think it's about the habit of people bringing their own water bottles. But what do you think, James? And then we'll go around to see what other people think.
The plastic water bottle purchases. Could you please elaborate that on a little bit? Do you mean that during town events, people are, the concessions are selling plastic water bottles? Is that what you mean?
It's more like that, and maybe you're right, it gets to flesh out. It's more like, as I described, at a town event open to the public, the town is handling, and this is, again, this was not some like town picnic or anything. This was just at the town offices. The town was handing out plastic water bottles. I think some workplaces, and probably not many, and I know the school department used to do it, they would buy vast pallets of plastic water and just use it for any purpose whatsoever. So that's what I was thinking about.
Rachel has her finger up.
yeah. So my sister-in-law's state senator has a budgetary amendment where small businesses can receive grants to implement alternatives to plastics. So this might be a so this is for the state. I believe it's going to be in the final budget. It hasn't been approved yet, but and that would, so Needham has approved bylaws that will forbid single-use plastic bags and other things, and I don't think that that is most important thing that we can do. But there is a program from the state to get money. So we can do this as not, we are banning the plastic, but we can get state money for having no plastic bottles at events and having some alternative that is more green.
Okay, so you think we should just defer this?
But I want to ask you about that. Did you say that that money is going to be available to small business owners?
For small businesses. So what I don't think that
I'm
there's
not
some
sure how that works in terms of town government.
No. So I agree. I think we should propose that the state look or the town look into having businesses apply for this. I think that we should make it publicly available and known that there are some really good green programs that are, again, free money from the state right now. So that we can try alternatives to plastic water bottles, as opposed to going, we want the state to ban, or we want the town to ban plastic water bottles, which is
This is not a ban. This is not about a town ban, and this is about the town taking taxpayer money to buy plastic water bottles for events to give out as guests to guests at their events and to guests who might visit town hall.
Can I,
in
sorry,
general.
can I just say something? I'm sorry. I don't know
Sure
if you can see my hand or not. I think I'm using it correctly.
Sure.
Anyway, I think what it is, because I know we should think of marketing. And like you said, Rachel, if we promote that with businesses, because don't we always get things from places we buy things from? Then we can show that other businesses can do the same. And then, I could show you one that I got from my son-in-law. I keep taking them, and one I get from a gift from my for Mother's Day. My daughter bought something, so what we can keep using those, bottles, and we don't have to go out and buy plastic water bottles that do pollute the environment. So, I think a promotion, if you think of it as a marketing tool, like you said, I guess I'm good on promotion and all that. That was my major, but even before that, think of all the things you get every day, promotion wise. So whether it's a notice in the mail or, a plastic, a bottle. So I agree with Rachel that it should be something that is promoted through marketing.
Michael, your thoughts?
Sort of mixed feelings, I guess. I think a lot of what we're doing, I keep coming back to the idea of leading by example.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of what we do in terms of encouraging town government agencies, commissions, et cetera, to do things is to encourage other people to follow suit in their day-to-day lives, businesses, residences, et cetera. It's a whole exemplary thing. I don't know that not handing out plastic water bottles actually, I don't think anybody's even going to be aware of the fact that suddenly there's no plastic water bottles. You know what I mean? So I don't really see the effect there. And in terms of the actual impact, I mean, I don't drink water to begin with. I've actually never drank out of a plastic water bottle or a carry along for that matter. I don't drink water. So I guess it's just that with so much, but I see a lot of it, obviously, like everybody else does. The overall impact of a few hundred or 1,000 water bottles is not really that big. And I know, you have to start small. It's not that big in and of itself. I mean, I don't see any harm in proposing almost anything. You know what I mean? So I don't see any harm in proposing it, but it wouldn't be.
Can I just say one thing? Because I know that at one point I remember Cameron Diaz was promoting water bottles, but then she discovered that they were toxic if you keep reusing them. So because plastic is not a natural substance in the environment, it's produced by oil, and that's like from the extinct dinosaurs and the tar and all that stuff. So I think we can give out one if you think that, but someone may not know that you can't keep reusing them. So we need to market it, and just we can promote those bottles, like you said, better bottles.
I just noticed that Aisha joined us. Have you been there for a few minutes?
keeps
I'm
in.
sorry, but hopefully we can add that into the minutes. And so I think we're at the point where we're just starting to talk about proposed interim recommendations, which again, we'll have a second meeting that we'll talk about this. This was just things that I'd been thinking of. And the idea would be to have something, finalized maybe by the end of July, set up a meeting where we come, some of us who are available come before the select board and we go over them. So the first item, which I just talked about, which we spent a few minutes on, is really discouraging the plastic water bottle purchases. I think we definitely have a split of opinion on that. Again, this is just, should the town be buying plastic water that they hand out to guests at the town or events for the town? And again, if they need them for emergency purposes, if you're out, rescuing somebody from a burning house, they might like to have some water. That's not what it's about, but I don't know if you want to weigh in on that or wait till we get to some other items on this list.
I've been following, so I literally heard everybody's contribution. I think it's something I want to wait, just and then contribute later on.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So that's great. All right. All right. So let's just table that. So let me.
I didn't get the chance to speak on
I'm
this.
sorry, James.
I just don't think this community is ready for that. I mean, if there's events in the time of summer and there's folks that are keeling over, there should be an opportunity, if anything, to ensure that people are hydrated, especially people with compromised health situation. I just don't think this community is ready for that yet without a solid alternative to offer.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
So here,
My feeling is that the state is going to either ban plastic reused or introduce programs. So we should take advantage of what the state does and keep an eye out, but our town doesn't have to be leading that. Because again, I feel like it's high controversy for relatively little gain. And make this more popular when the state is already leaning towards programs to reduce use of plastic.
okay.
And town meeting has made it known they don't support the ban on bottles in the town, and the iron is hot with that. It's too hot with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad we can't promote that. That would be the thing, to try to promote it, but still have the plastic bottles in the meantime.
I can send everyone the plastic water, the plastic alternatives blurb, basically, that'll be in the state Senate. So
Okay, that'd be great if you send that as an email. All right, so I'm just gonna start at the top. So joinmassenergize.org. So that's the organization that Tom Birmingham told me about, which really is like a collection of towns who belong to this organization, where who are developing climate action plans and carrying out and implementing climate action plans, who have conferences and resources and materials. I'm telling you, I understand it costs about $3,000 a year. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I feel like, again, I need to do a little bit more background and explain what it is and what the benefits are. I know that Canton belongs. So I just think that's a good thing to put in there, because it shows like a long-term commitment to carrying out a climate action plan. And it also gives you like a really good website. They give you a website on their website, and it could be like very, interactive and very up to date, and certainly hopefully present more than we present on our little website, which, by the way, isn't bad. We certainly have made some progress on our own website,
Yep.
So any thoughts about Mass Energize? Again, it's an ask, and I know there's a dollar figure to that ask, but it seems like it's joining other towns in this very collaborative way, which again, it is a regional issue.
I think you should ask town manager to support that, and then we'll need to have a budget. And they'll be starting to work on the budget in August or so, or September.
Okay.
That might be the solution, because the funding is the biggest issue. Go ahead, Mike.
I think that's a good thing to keep on the list of our because I've seen some of their websites. They're really good. We'll get a lot out of joining that.
Okay. Oh, you want to go, Michael, first?
Yeah, let's
No,
Molly.
point in a circle. Michael's next.
Who actually joins? Who would actually be joining? The town or us as a committee?
I think it's the town.
Okay,
Oh,
so it's a different funding. So we wouldn't be asking for funding for any reason.
Yeah.
That was my question.
The
Yeah, sort of.
And then it's the kind of thing, if, after a year or two, you take a look at it, was it worth the, any type of thing you join, is it worth it? What is the feedback you're getting? What's the support you're getting? I certainly feel like every time I reach out to somebody outside of the town, whether it's been a consultant I've spoken to or whoever, that it's really been enormously helpful, because, we're kind of feeling our way through this new process.
It seems to me like
Okay, I'm going.
There's
Go
no
ahead. You want to
downside.
finish or you want me to say something? It doesn't matter. Either way.
So
Right.
Michael, why don't you finish and then we'll go in a circle. So Michael, if you have
I
something,
don't see any downside to this ask. I think it's a great idea.
okay, so
Okay.
are you, I'm going to ask you next if you have any comments on that thought.
Who are you talking to? Me or
Are
someone
you,
else?
Chef? Whether she,
Asia? I'm sorry.
yeah, do you have any comments on joining this organization?
I have my reservations, but for now, I don't have any comments.
Okay. And Janet?
Well, yeah, Michael answered part of it where the money comes from. So does that mean we ask the town for this money? Or, I mean, how does that work? And also, do we have any money of our own yet? Or are we just working on grants and other things for each thing that we want to do?
We have no money. We wouldn't ask the town to give us the money. We would ask the town to join, and we would tell the town, this is the cost of joining. It's an annual fee, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, yeah.
It's not
Okay.
passing through us. And
Yeah, and I'm just trying to hear the process that goes on. That's all. Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
I think it's a good recommendation.
okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Okay,
Well, that looks like I keep that one in. The next one, and I'm a little dissatisfied I didn't do this better, because we're both being specific on a few items. And again, I'm happy for other people to brainstorm items, and certainly I hope you will by next meeting. It's just also just posit like a board resolution that sort of says it's a message to the town. It's a message to town officials. It's even a message to every town employee who might have ideas about more climate friendly practices or policies, is saying, okay, that we have a goal, we're going to move toward it, et cetera, et cetera. That's what my idea was for the second, and including that they would participate in messaging and promoting this concept. And I've specifically thought about, I think we already know some of the town messaging ways are like on the TVs, the DPW sign, the town crier. But some people may have noticed that big, beautiful, colorful insert, whatever it was we got that has the insert about the town election. So somebody put an entire leaf of paper
Mhm.
and insert, I don't know what bill it came with the town.
The suburban shopper?
It wasn't the Suburban Shepherd. It maybe,
Oh,
I don't know why. It was definitely like some kind of bill that we got from the town within the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Flyer. It's a flyer. So I would think that we could talk with them and get it. They're not about a flyer that would say, this season's a good time to check out getting a heat pump. Go to masssave.org and
Mhm.
find out, or this is a good time to have an energy audit of your house, or explore these options to consider solar panels on your house. And just like that continuous messaging to people, I think I would love to have the town engage in. And that messaging doesn't cost any money, except if it's a flyer. Obviously, if you stick it in 1,000 or 10,000.
well, we could put it in the library. We could put it in inserts like the shopper that we get. We don't get the original one. We get the suburban shopper now, but we don't get the penny saver anymore. But anything that you can do that, whether it's churches, temples, I don't know, public places, that you think people would go to. Supermarkets have things as well. They have boards. So,
This is really just the town using its own available messaging resource.
right.
And,
Yeah.
including our messages. And the messages
Yeah.
are not like forcing anybody to do anything, and it's not mandates. It's about saying, here's opportunities out here if you want to explore your household doing this or doing that or doing that. And I could say that the support from the state is tremendous. And could be, that's sort of what can change the time, is having them join. So that's my thought about number 2. Obviously, we could work on more details on a resolution. What are people's general impressions? I'm going to go in a circle so it's easier to follow. So Rachel.
Yes. I think asking town to be more pushy about this, like promoting it more. I think
Okay,
that's
promoting, right. James, you're a town insider. What do you think?
Well, I'd like to let you know that the town already is on top of this. It may not be common knowledge, but
Okay,
we're on
Awesome.
our way to developing paperless application procedures with regard to some of our departments, such as the building department, and the engineering department, and the health department. Our conservation will be next, and other permitting boards.
Mhm.
In addition to that, I wanted to let you know, it's not common knowledge either, but in due time, it will be promoted. It'll be announced. The board should know that the new fire station is proposing, if you don't know already, 4 new electro charging stations. And these are the high capacity charging stations that quickly charge up electric vehicles. And these are, for firefighters, as well as perhaps someday even firefighting equipment and trucks to speak of. So this is happening in and around the community. Just to let this board know, and that we are well on our way towards climate resiliency in that regard.
awesome. Maybe I should say, you mentioned the word resiliency, which was great, promoting climate friendly and climate resilient policies. So
Mhm.
it's really thinking on both fronts.
Good word.
I'm going to add the word resilient. So Michael, your thoughts about a general resolution? And obviously some people on the select board will not be interested in it, but I think some people will be supportive and some people will be open-minded. And so we'll see how that, so Michael's thoughts?
Yeah, actually, along those lines, I was thinking, as long as you got the votes, I
Yeah.
would do it.
Yeah.
And I think I think you can probably pretty much tell at any given point whether you do or not. Secondly, yeah, I have no issue with any of that. The whole business of inserts or any type of paper messaging is a little bit paradoxical in that we're also looking to cut down on paper, and yet we're advocating the use of more paper.
Mhm.
So I'm always leery about
Okay.
print.
Got it. You want to be
Agreed.
consistent. Okay. Ayesha, any ideas, thoughts about a board resolution?
Is
All
she
right.
there?
I don't know. Janet,
Muted.
I'm here.
okay.
Okay.
Thoughts about the proposing a select board resolution as sort of a general resolution like this?
Yeah, it's okay.
Alrighty. Okay, Janet.
Yeah, I agree about the fact that we try to be green, but we still use paper because some people are not in the 21st century. I always describe myself, I'm kind of in between the 20th and 21st century because I didn't learn on computers originally. So the point is we're trying to get out of the paper market, but we're still not yet out of it. We're just we're getting there because I see that in the schools and other places as well. And I would like the idea of promoting it and mentioning that other towns are in it. Like for lack of a better phrase, and I wouldn't use it in the marketing of it, get on the bus. Just say get on the train, however you want to phrase it. Let's get going. Let's be part of the future of our environment, however you want to phrase it. I mean, I could do it if I was writing it on paper right now, but not in a conversation. And just the idea, I'm glad James told us what was going on because we're not in the loop of all these things. I only am on one other committee other than this one. So, and I just became a town rep. So I think if you haven't been in the committee a long time, you really don't know what's going on yet, because I know we have new people. So yes, let's keep going with what we're doing. Let's get on the bus.
Okay.
And just follow the other communities around here as well as around the country, everywhere, not just in our state. And let's save our environment. Yeah.
All right. So
Amen.
I'm sorry. The next item I think is a good segue. I've thought for years, and we just came back from lugging 40 pounds into town meeting. Obviously, a lot of people are still going to want the paper warrants. But don't you think there's a way that people could sign up to get their warrants and the backup material electronically? And I'm going to ask Michael first, since he's a longtime town meeting member. Don't you think that's a reasonable option? And they could save several $100s?
Yes, I mean, the electronic option is already there. You can just download it off the website.
But I mean, they mail everybody that. I mean, just somebody would
No, I know, but I mean, there is an option. We just haven't made it clear that it's not both. Right now, it's both. You can download it, but you're automatically. So yeah, basically, you'd be opting out of the print. I like it. On the other, I mean, I think the question is, yeah, I don't see it. Since it allows for choice on every individual basis. So I think a lot of people like being able to continue to look at and read something without having a laptop fired up at town meeting. Sitting on their lap with the laptop trying to, stuff does show up on screens and is discussed enough that, I mean, half of town meetings looking at their phones most of the time, if you notice. I sit in the back and it's very interesting. Felt the same way in law school. I sat in the back and watched everybody shopping while we were sitting in class. It's crazy out there. In any case, I think it's a great idea having the choice. And I think you'll see an increasing number of people saying, I don't want these two. And then at the end of the day, you've got especially with this secondary, the backup, which is twice as thick, you've got how many pounds of paper that just gets tossed. You can't reuse it. It's not printed on both sides. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. No problem with it. I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Aisha, any thoughts on that? Just going in the circle?
Did you ask me, Molly?
I'm
Right.
sorry, I skipped over you. I forgot to start with Rachel. I jumped to Michael because he's a town meeting member. So actually, let me start with Rachel and we'll circle around. I'm sorry, Aisha. Rachel, should this be included?
Again, this is like a general like push to promotion. I think this is a great thing to add. So Michael said it beautifully.
Okay. James, your thoughts?
I think there should be a soft approach to this somehow. Some discussion with town manager initially to feel the waters of this, and also town moderator. I think there needs to be a transition, and perhaps it can be voluntary, and those that are committed to this mission will provide their laptops. They'll bring their notepads, while others will rely on paper for now. I don't think we're ready to, for a transition with this type of government to go completely paperless at town meeting. But I think there needs to be some discussion, negotiation, and planning involved with this endeavor.
So James, it is not at all taking away the paper. It is offering an option. You would have to opt in and say, please do not mail me a 20 pounds of paper. I am satisfied with the electronic version. And
Okay.
I can, take it on my laptop or take it on my iPad. And absolutely. And I know probably 70% of the people will still get the paper, but over time that's going to change as we hopefully get younger people to join town meeting. And it's a cost savings for the town too. So,
All right. Well, then this is something involving, will have to involve planning well in advance of
yeah,
the town meeting. It's something that discussion can be made for this
Right.
option to be initiated.
yeah,
So interim recommendations is a great place for it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm sorry, but now I'm circling around to Aisha. Any comments on the electronic option for a town warrant, again, to save paper?
I think it's a great idea, and you might be surprised to see that a lot of people might have been waiting for this for a long time. So yeah, I don't think like 70% of people will want to have that. I don't like the paper when I see it in my mail. It might be an option that some people might have been waiting for this long time.
Right.
There is no doubt that some people like to read the fine prints, but a lot of people have truly they've actually made that climb to the next level. It will be surprising to us.
Right. Well, hopefully, yeah. Okay. So Janet, does that make sense to you to just talk about offering an option?
Yeah, they should do it ahead of time, like James said. I didn't know you couldn't recycle things that were printed on both sides or shredded, but that's just me. That's my little aside. I don't, So definitely plan, and some people will prefer paper and some will be able to do the electronic way.
Let me jump in here and make sure that I was clear. You can absolutely recycle whatever. My point was that you can't personally do it. I like to print on the other
okay.
sides of paper all the time. So I reuse all of my single-sided. I run a lot of drafts here and all that I'd rather not. So I always reuse the second sides. You can't do anything with it except throw it in the bin.
Oh, shred it. I
That's
was
all.
thinking as well. Yeah. Yeah, no, okay, now I get it. Okay, thanks. That's all right.
Okay, all right, so that one seems like that's a yes. All right,
Yes.
the anti-idling measures, which I know that the Sustainability Committee has been talking about that. That seems to have gotten a little stalled. We need to jumpstart that. I think where it got stalled, Rachel, just to update you, was they had actually picked out a sign that people wanted to recommend purchasing. And it was going to cost a couple $1,000s. And Nathan was going to brainstorm how we were going to get that money. And that's where it ended. So, but I think there's no reason, and again, that's still going to be pursued by the Sustainability Committee. There's no reason to say, by the way, there should be awareness of the anti-ad ordinance. Again, that could be part of town messaging on its different messaging platforms. And it's not about giving out $100 tickets or whatever. It might just be about a reminder every now and then, excuse me, you really can't idle your car for more than 5 minutes. Just so I know we haven't talked about this at length. There is a state law, which is widely disregarded as far as people are not supposed to idle their cars for more than 5 minutes. So that's what that's about. I presume Rachel's in favor of this, and James, we'll just go in again and circle. James, your ideas about this? James, any comments about?
Oh, yes, I think this is a good idea. Absolutely. We need to generate public awareness as to the importance of this. And it's a very easy no-brainer that this is going to help reduce our carbon footprint. I think the biggest problem we're going to have is with the school department with regard to buses that are idling constantly. And we need to get them on board with us. Also, maybe we can somehow establish this partnership with them in advance of going public.
So, all right. So, Michael, thoughts about this?
I think that if you're able to actually adopt and enforce something like this, it would probably be the best thing on this list we could do. My issue with it is that I don't really know what you're looking for here. You talked about gentle reminders and things. What exactly? And you use the word enforce. And I think ultimately you're going to have to enforce. That's the only way things get done. On the other hand, I can understand anybody being a little nervous about enforcing. So I'm not quite sure what it is that you're going to ask the select board or whoever to do here.
Part of it is I would say you're right. It needs to be fleshed out, sort of like, promoting awareness, reinforcing that this is the law. We should all be abiding by the law.
Promoting it. Promoting it to who and how?
To the community and to town officials and to the police department and to the school department, who we have separately talked with Dr. Valletta about this, who was in favor of it. So it's promoting the fact that there is a law out there, promoting enforcement. And I guess, by enforcement, again, I don't mean aggressive enforcement, that would be like, repeat violators or something like that. But like, just like sometimes the police officer pulls you over and says, you didn't stop long enough when you turned right on red. That looked a little dangerous to me. You're like, okay, I'm sorry, officer. Because people do totally ignore it, and people are, to the extent of not really being aware. And I don't think people are even aware that stuff that comes out of their tailpipe is very unhealthy for those school children over there. So
Right.
I guess that could be tinkered with as far as the wording, but as a town, I think that's easy to be sending that message.
And then the Sustainability Committee is going to have the signs for the schools?
I hope so. They've already talked with the schools about actually posting signs at the schools, which are the most obvious,
Where the buses are, and as well as the carpools. That's the
yeah,
other thing.
exactly.
Correct.
It's the car.
Carpool is the biggest thing, I think, because they're stopping and going as cars, they pick up their children. See, the
Or-
buses can stop until they leave, each one leaves. But not everyone takes a bus,
Right. All right,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
all right, so everybody seems to be okay with this. Aisha, just your thoughts about the anti-idling, sort of promoting, you're promoting compliance with the law is what is probably the wording of it.
Yes, I think I would like for us to be very conscious of the verbiage that we use while making that recommendation.
And
Yeah,
Because people tend to push back when they feel like you are like
Absolutely.
can I
exactly.
just, when
So
she's done, I just have a couple things, that's all. I don't want to interrupt you.
it's a
Um,
good recommendation.
So the
Okay.
way I'm asking, because I know we're going to probably promote it to the police department, the fire department, the school department, and all that. Where are we going to post it? I mean, like, I know about the carpooling and the bus, but other places, how are you going to promote it with the general public?
I really just think it's the town messaging, and I think it's hopefully getting the schools to actually have signs on all of their school properties.
Is there other places where they carpool, whether it's picking up at the church, the temple, all these other places too?
And
So
those are private property too, so
Mhm.
it would
yeah,
be approaching them and to see if they want to add the sign. But like the town can't. These are specifically recommendations for the town, for the select board,
right.
because they asked for this status update essentially and what things we think should be pushed on immediately. And we can't have them telling I don't think you can have
I'm
them.
not talking about homeowners. I'm just talking about places of business. I mean, homeowners, we can't control them. It's like anything. We're not right there, on a residential street. So we can't, tell them, don't run your car.
No, that's not what it's about. But
Yeah.
I also don't think it's about going on to the churches and telling them either.
No, I'm just giving you places that
Yeah.
are not necessarily residences. I don't know how so I know you have to start somewhere. I get that.
I think the peer pressure of it is like, because once people are aware of the law, they're less likely to do it. And right now there is almost zero awareness of the law. So
Right.
like the signs and putting messaging on SMAC and on like the outside of Department of Public Works and the other billboards that we have is pretty key.
Okay. No, I was just wondering what the
That's a good idea.
electronically you're saying.
Yeah.
And also in public places like certain public places, like the
All right.
police and the fire department. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. I'm just trying to get through. All right, so Mass Save, I will tell you, so Mass Save, which has come to a couple of other town events, like sustainability events, they are always dying to be there in person. Well, to be in there in person, to meet with people, to talk about doing a home energy audit and everything. I actually asked the town moderator and Julie Miller, the high school principal, I said, hey, we're having town meeting, hundreds of people are coming. Could we have Mass Save come there? And I was told basically no. Not by the moderator. He said, well, you can have their literature there, but you can't have a person there. So for whatever reasoning that is, I feel like every time we have something at the town where like more than 25 people might just show up, we should have the representative from Mass Save there. You need the live person there to interact and to talk about what they can do and what they're all about, and it's all free and we can show you this. I think you need that person there, and I think that's I think that should just be that's part of our mission. We're going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Here's a really first step to do it.
What I just want to what was the thing at the YMCA that you and I were both at, that we all sat around the table?
That was Neponset water thing.
I can't hear who's talking. Who's talking?
That was the Neponset water.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was
The
a little
Ponset River.
Mass
Right.
Save. I have seen them table before, and we actually just got the air ducts installed in our house, and they're working beautifully. So,
Yeah.
like, we could have personal testimonials even.
Absolutely. All right. So Rachel says yes to that. James?
Well, I think if the moderator isn't in favor of it at town meeting, they shouldn't be at town meeting. What are those? So what are the folks supposed to sit through town meeting from Mass Saves, or just sit
No,
there
no,
when
no,
people
no,
are
no.
shuffling in, or?
People
don't
are shuffling
understand.
in, you know, people come early. There's other literature out there. They can be sitting out there a couple of the nights of town meeting. I think the select board can make that decision, then the town moderator can't overrule them. They wouldn't be inside the meeting. I think that if the select board supports it, I don't think the moderator is going to be a problem.
I agree that at all town events, it would be fruitful to invite mass saves. They attend events such as Earth Day on weekends and other events that the Sustainability Committee has held and that the Climate Action Plan Committee has held. So, of course, I think it's a good idea to invite them to any type of extracurricular public awareness event.
Okay. Michael?
Yeah, I would agree. Any type of, you know, I think you said like anytime there's 25 or more people, not just things that are about sustainability, energy, et cetera, but, you know, any type of event. But I would exclude, I mean, if the select board and the moderator are okay with it, then I would be too, but I'm not really in favor of any type of physical presence at any type of event where people are actually voting. I don't have a problem so much with literature there, but I just don't, I get irked when I see people promoting any type of program, candidate, you name it, at any type of legislative, judicial, or other type of event. I just don't think it's appropriate. But everything else, you can get them in there, get them in. And I think most other things they would, you know, they would be allowed. I don't think people would have much problem. Basically, what you're saying is, here's how you save. Here's a great way to save a ton of money and get a lot of great work done. We had it done a few years ago by them, and it was fantastic.
So what I'm hearing from you is you don't want them at town meeting.
Right.
All right. Ayesha, your feelings about having mass save or recommending that the select board agree that mass save should be present at town events, including or not including town meeting?
I mean, it's always great to have mass save around. Who wouldn't want mass save? Like, that's a good recommendation. It's just that I don't know why they said they can't have like a physical presence in there. Is there any reasons to that in the first place? Did they give you any reason?
I don't know whether he thought that it validated the fact that there actually is climate change happening with climate change articles. I mean, that's sort of the impression I got from an email from the moderator.
I could also see, and this is just me guessing, that they feel like if we invite one outside group, then we have to invite all of the outside groups, because that's something that the
Absolutely.
library can
Yeah,
do.
that's true.
Absolutely.
So we don't want, so this would have to be like special because it got permission from the town. And you,
Oh, got you. Okay.
That makes sense.
that's my guess. I don't know that for sure.
No, I can see
Molly, why don't we confirm why they don't want mass save there in the first place? And if it's anything close to what Rachel is saying, we can just go ahead and let it be like a free for all. So whoever wants to come could come instead of just inviting only mass save.
Well, you don't want that at town meeting. You
Absolutely.
don't want it to be a free for all. It's
that would be like a fair of all these different causes. Yeah,
that's,
you can't do
town
that.
meeting is very strictly regulated. I mean, I'm hearing that maybe, and I respect Michael's judgment. Maybe we don't include town meeting in that list. Other than, again, I could always ask again, can we just have literature out there?
Okay.
Mhm.
I think there's
Literature's good.
Okay. All right.
Let me know when it's my turn.
Oh, it's your turn, Rachel. I mean, sorry, Janet.
Yeah, it's okay. No problem. I do think that there should be a physical presence, not at the main town meeting. It could either be at a table outside with literature, because we did do something at the Y when we sat outside and asked people what they wanted, what the issues they wanted to be covered by the climate committee. I remember that you and I did that, Molly, and I'm not sure who else. So I think maybe we can pick a place to go if we want a physical presence, you know, whether it be the YMCA or somewhere else. But definitely put literature places. That should not be a problem. I mean, we're not trying to promote a business. We're trying to promote a cause.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yeah,
Okay,
that's my opinion.
so the next one, and I'm curious when we get to James, so we'll start with Rachel again. So I'm walking around, say, for example, at Halloran Park or other places that I walk, and it's very nice. They have receptacles and everything. And I'm also happy to say there's plenty of weeds at Halloran Park, which is exactly how it should be. When you see the dandelions, you know they're not covering it with pesticides.
Mhm.
But there's no recycling cans. And even if you go like some of the central streets next to town hall, there's some trash cans. There's no recycling cans. I don't know if in the interior there's recycling cans, but there's many towns or cities that do have outdoor recycling receptacles as well as trash cans. So, and then I don't even know whether every town office has recycling or not. So let me start with Rachel and James.
Aisha has her hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry, Aisha.
Oh, yes, this is a very interesting topic because I literally had this conversation with someone who lived in Randolph and they just moved to Stoughton, and he said, how come the town of Stoughton is not giving us a recycle bin?
Yeah.
Like, well,
Mm.
I don't know if anybody ever had that. So in Randolph, if they come pick trash in your house and you have like a recycle bag, the next time they're coming, they give you a recycle bin. So that way, instead of just putting in I have like this small recycle bin that I have on my own, but this person was just asking, how come the town of Stoughton is not giving you like a recycle bin? So that's something the town should be able to give to us.
Michael?
Right.
That's a separate issue from what you're talking about though, right, Molly?
Yes, it's a different issue, but also all they
Yes.
have to do is go to DPW and they get a free recycle bin.
But that's not automatic.
Are we ever going to have the dumpsters? That's what I would love to know. But that's
We
Yeah.
currently have those small black bins they give out,
Right.
right? But you
right.
can also get the bumper sticker
Yeah.
to stick on a. Well, now that we use the single stream, I fill up a complete however many gallon massive trash can every week. That's just
Right.
Ann and I. Well, the print New York Times, all the cans of soda, everything goes in there, and it's great. And they
Right.
just slap the bumper sticker on there, recyclables. You can go to DPW, get a few of them. Those big blue ones that you do see in different towns look great.
Yeah.
And I know they're made so that they can just flip up on the machines, which are nice.
Right.
But
Yeah,
that's
the one.
a different issue, I think, and it's a different expense in terms of
Right.
recycling at town buildings, town programs, etc.
Yes.
I mean, it's madness that we don't have this now. And there's a lot of places. I mean, I'm over at 2 nights a week. I've been coaching a T-ball, and they've got their trash cans all over the place, and they're brimming over. 90% of what's in there, probably even more than 90%, is recyclable. It's all plastic bottles and paper from the concession stand,
Right.
and that could all be. And you stuck 5 cans in there. I don't know what the issues are around having them picked up, what additional costs this would be for the town, but I can't imagine it would be that much. How much of it? I mean, if you're running the trucks in there to pick up stuff from the cans and the dumpsters, you can just run the recycle trucks through there too, these different areas too. And in terms of town offices, and again, what we heard from the high schoolers, that, they're not recycling in classrooms, et cetera. It's like,
Yeah.
this is like 1980s type stuff, we're talking about here. So absolutely unqualified yes to this.
Okay, thank you. All right, Rachel, and then I'll go to James.
I think that it just says something about the town's priorities, that we can ask them to put a resolution affirming commitment towards promotion of climate friendly and climate resiliency policies, but not having recycling bins in the parks, not having recycling bins in government buildings. We can see where the priority is, and it's not in
Exactly.
recycling or that. So I think just for that reason alone, we should make it very easy for people to recycle in Stoughton. And like, I know when I moved to Stoughton, I was surprised we didn't have the blue bins that we did in Canton. You have to put effort into recycling, and we want recycling to be frictionless.
That's true. All right. So, Aisha, you're fine with adding recycling to town buildings, programs, events, parks and fields. I'm going to add parks and fields. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over.
100%.
Okay. James, maybe you can tell us a little bit what's happening in town buildings. Are there recycling little blue bins and people pick up recycling at the town offices?
Well, I'm going to share something with you. For years, there were bins at the town hall that were recycling bins, and folks thought the contents of these bins were going towards recycling, and they were actually going to the dumpster.
Oh,
But currently, we're told now that there is a recycling program and there are recycling bins available, and the contents of those bins, we are told, is being recycled. So what I would advise is that, Molly, I think you should ask Tom for an explanation of the program as to actually what is being done. Let him explain that to you. And
Okay,
we should all find out and confirm that that's being done.
okay,
Because it's being done by the custodians. And I know I have a recycling bin in my office and it hasn't been dumped in 2 weeks. But there is a program and there are blue bins on all floors that are labeled recycling bins.
okay.
So I think you really need to find out from the town manager, and I think you should ask if he's doing it and what the program is. And that's probably the best way to verify that this policy is in effect and it's being done, and that all the custodians are actually recycling material that is earmarked for recycling.
Wow.
And another thing, Michael's absolutely correct. The town does, on another note, provide the recycling bins and the stickers at Public Works, which I use myself even at home in another town. And the town will pick up everything in a recycling bin. And that's just, maybe it's not common knowledge, but we can help. We could ask the select board to promote that knowledge in open meetings.
Okay. All right, great. So it sounds, Janet, you're on board with recycling. So it sounds
okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I had to wait for everyone else there.
Okay.
And I've learned from everyone else by listening there. Yeah, I do use other containers and I do have those labels, but and I make my own. I didn't know that they gave out ones. I just write recycling on it, and sometimes it kind of gets wet and falls off. But it's good to know they should promote those labels, because we can't keep buying the containers. They cost a lot if you keep buying more and more of them. And as far as the trash cans around the town, I think you can put the labels on those as well, because buy 2 trash cans. One will be trash, the other will be recycling. So then it won't cost as much. You don't need the dumpsters. That's the ones I see in some affluent towns like Framingham and Sharon and Canton and other places. But what great thing about them is you can put more stuff in there. Obviously, you don't have to have multi-containers to do that. But the cheapest way is the labels, and that is what we should promote, and use just regular cans and empty them as they are needed, as you need to. That's all.
Could the town maybe mail out a recycling sticker to everyone in town? Just to make it really easy? Like, that could be a way of doing that. I know that that's not the most cost efficient way, but again, the point is to make it easy.
I think that Paul Jaffoon from DPW told me that he thought about 85% of the people are recycling. So it's almost like somebody on the truck who notices somebody doesn't recycle, like they stick that underneath, I don't know, they stick it underneath their door or their doormat or something like that, but I don't know.
I got a sticker because I did it the wrong week by mistake, because I was rushing around, because I found out my son-in-law puts it out early. So I did it, and they gave me a violation because I did that. First violation. And I was like, what is this? What did I do? I didn't know. And then as far as getting rid of furniture, I didn't realize you had to have, I was putting it off the street and they said no. So I put it back in my driveway, and I will call them. But these things you don't know when you're just, going along.
Not everything is very clear about.
Yes.
Right.
I
How
learned
the
my
recycling stuff
lesson.
is, but what do I do with a rug? I'm still not sure.
I think you have to call them and make arrangements, but there's
Right,
also like state law about some things you can and cannot get rid of in certain ways. There's like new state laws and restrictions on that.
I just didn't know you couldn't put it near your street. That's what I didn't know. It has to be away from, so that's fine.
Okay, so the last one I have, and just bear
Molly,
with
I
me.
do have my hands raised. I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. All right,
Stephen.
Aisha.
So I would want to go with Rachel to say we should recommend in town meeting for the town to make an effort. Just like Michael just told me, you could tell that person that just moved to Stoughton, they could go to DPW and get the sticker. So there is something that the town can do. We pick up regular trash, correct? Yes, everybody has regular trash. So we could make a sticker that we could put on a regular trash that could tell you how to do those things that people do not know how to do.
Well, yeah, because
Very
the
easy.
sticker, I'm sorry, the sticker they put on there said I could wait till Saturday. And this was on Tuesday. So I had to decide what I was going to do with my stuff. Do I want to wait that many days and put all that stuff back in my driveway and have even more stuff come out next week? So it was like
Yeah,
a
I don't
massive.
want to lose my train of thoughts. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
Sorry, I just had to say that one thing.
Hold on
Okay.
till she's finished, okay, Janet? Because
Yeah.
it's hard on virtual. All right, so you're saying that the town needs to make a more of an effort to promote recycling, including and inform people of the
Yeah.
of the
So
options.
I think if we make a recommendation on how the town could make an effort and to inform people on how to do recycling and every other thing like trashing something else, it could be like a short, so you know the kind of sticker they put on your trash bin. If you have a violation, you can't miss it. They could give each trash bin that same kind of sticker. So
Okay,
you can't miss it. So the sticker is just going to say, if you want to recycle, please do this. Come to DPW to get a recycle sticker. If you want to throw this, please do this. If you want to do this, please call this number. A sticker. It's just a sticker. Make the effort, put it on a regular trash bin,
Okay.
and people will see that and they'll know that the trash. The town is really interested in making an effort.
okay.
That's my 1 cent. Thank
All
you.
right. Sounds like a very practical idea, which is good. Very concrete and practical, which is helpful. All right, so we're ready to move on to the last item and then see if other people want to add items, because this is certainly by not an exhaustive list. The last item is my thought, especially since there's been such, shall we say, controversy about the committee, is we are going to have a consultant by the fall, whether it's the MAPC or whether we have the actual consultant by, fall town meeting tends to be early November. If we have the actual, consultant who's responded to the RFP by then. It would be great for them to come in and do some kind of just brief introduction. This is who we are. This is what we've done. This is what we plan to do. We would want to hear from you. We want to hear your ideas. We want to engage in this dialogue and process. 3 minutes, like an introduction, and basically setting the message again. This is a serious endeavor. We wanted to talk with all the stakeholders. That's what it's always about, reaching out. We want to hear from businesses. We want to hear from residents. We want to hear from people who live in condos and apartments and don't even have recycling. So just to introduce them, I think might launch the actual drafting of the plan and the community engagement on a really good note. And if the select board recommends it, I don't think the moderator is going to fight it. That's just my idea. And again, it sort of takes the focus off me and puts it on where it should be, which is the idea behind the project, the whole point of this project. And quite frankly, the fact that to have it, very much in professional hands or with professional guidance, it is like a step in a different direction. People need to, to meet those people, to see them sit up there. All right, those are my thoughts. And obviously anything we recommend could get rejected, but let me just go around the room starting again. We're going to start with Rachel to go in a circle, her thoughts about that.
Is this about the consultant or about our own thoughts?
Oh, and it's not about my thoughts. It's about the consultant that gets hired to speak at fall town meeting for like 3 minutes as an introduction, who they are, what they're doing. We would love to hear from all of you. We're going to have these events planned. Here's what a climate action plan does, that kind of thing. So is that something that you think we should include?
I think that's great. It's like introducing the babysitter first before the meeting, before the actual babysitting.
Oh, I like that. I like babysitting.
James, your idea, your thoughts?
I think the moderator, we need to make sure he's on board with this. And are we going to have any articles on, is the question?
No. That's not any expectation. No, it's like, that's all been voted on. We'll be rounding the corner of our second year of our task with hopes of getting a draft, or actually say a final climate action plan by next summer. But the second tier is really going to get launched once the consultant comes in. And I think it's introductory.
Well, I just think as long as the moderator is on board with it, there shouldn't be a problem, but we'll need to include that in our RFP.
Sure. Good point. Good point. Michael?
I don't really like it. I don't like fall town meeting to begin with, because I think it's turned into something that it wasn't originally intended to be, which was for absolutely time-sensitive measures that could not be dealt with at other times. Now it's blown up into just another ancillary that takes up too much time as it is. I don't recall ever actually seeing presentations unrelated to articles presented at town meeting, and I do not want to start a precedent with that, because God knows who's going to want to introduce who knows what the next time. I'm in favor of cutting down on town meeting time by whatever means possible, not by ever expanding it in any conceivable way, no matter how much I may love the subject. I also am leery about overselling. We've got what we wanted. I am thrilled. I am.
Good point.
I mean, I was stunned that we did. I saw some other articles, not ours, but where I felt people were overselling it. It was like, you've already got them. I can tell. You won this. Don't keep pushing. People want to go home. You start overdoing it, and you start creating more and more of a
Overselling.
We're going to be showing people starting soon. As soon as we start with the other interim recommendations, people are going to know us by what we're doing. Hey, those anti-idling signs. Hey, those receptacles. Hey, those whatever. Or people who pay attention to select board meetings, which is a lot of town meeting people watch them, even if they don't show up. They'll hear about these things there. I don't really, like I said, I think this is a very novel idea, and I'm just afraid again of the precedent that it sets for people wanting to make speeches and introducing various things, noble and well-intentioned as they may be.
You're making Molly laugh. Look at her.
No, I love hearing Michael's viewpoint.
You probably expect it.
No, really.
No, it's good to hear from a lawyer's point of
All right,
view.
let's go to Aisha, then we'll finish up with Janet. Aisha, any thoughts
I
about
will
this?
go with Michael. I am very,
James.
very critical on this one. I
Okay,
do not like to set precedents, and I always like to be consistent. So if we already got what we want, let's not oversell, don't overkill, don't throw the baby and the bathwater. So I will go with Michael on this one.
A lot of sayings here.
okay, and Janet, looks like this one's going
Oh,
down in flames.
Wow, it sounds like I'm quoting my mother. Okay, so anyway, I know I agree with Michael. At first, I like what James has to say as well. We already have it in the bucket, if you want to use it that phrase as well. So let's just. I think actions speak louder than words, and we're showing it. We don't need to keep speaking about it, but I think we just need to keep, doing what we say we're going to do, and then they'll see that it's a good thing that we have begun.
Well said. And I think Michael convinced me when he said, if there's any way to shorten town meeting by any means necessary, that really convinced me, Michael, because it's a problem how long town meeting is. It's a problem for civic engagement and new people joining as town meeting members. So we'll leave it at that. All right. So I'm going to just go around the room to start with Rachel, anything that should be added. And again, between now and the next meeting, we're all to have a semi-final draft. You could certainly, give me a call if you want anything else. But right now, anything else jump out at you, whether it's specific or broad, that you would want to have the message to our select board as far as our interim recommendations. And we put it up as a link to our website too, when we get that. So thoughts?
Bike paths, widening the bike paths are all right there. Widening the edges, doing something on Bay Road because it is too narrow there to even walk safely. That's something that people have asked for and people have been noticing, and so I want to make sure that that is included.
Okay,
And, yeah, and overall making the town more walkable in places where it can be walkable.
okay. All right, James, ideas?
I don't, right now off the top of my head, I don't have any additional ideas.
Okay. Michael?
Nothing tonight, but I will by the next meeting.
Okay, okay.
Oops, sorry.
All right. Aisha, any ideas of something you would like to see included for interim recommendations?
I like the fact that they're doing a lot of work in town right now, but there is like the way that they do it, like they have to block off like everywhere blocked off, especially on that Pleasant Street. That road is completely bastardized. It's one of the worst road. When I moved to my new house where I am right now, it was so good. And in less than 2-3 years, they just messed it up. That's the break, remake, remodel, whatever they're doing. It's still not good for the environment because
Which,
sometimes you have
which
like
street? I'm sorry.
Pleasant Streets that is off the Route 27.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've been doing like a lot of like it's so not good. They cut off stuff, cut off this, water pipes leaking here and there. And I see them fixing other streets like other roads. Why then is that particular road not part of those roads that they're considering to remodel? They fix roads that are much more better than that worst road. I don't know what is going on or why they decide to let that road degrade to that extent. I don't know why. I need to find out why, because it's
So
so
you
not
should-
good.
I think you should call the engineering department at the town with your observations as a homeowner. I don't think that is definitely linked to the, the greenhouse gas emissions problem and the, promoting not driving problem. But I feel like that's a current issue that, is really bothering you. I would, they're pretty nice at the engineering department. I would just start to have a conversation and they do respond. You're laughing.
Yes, I am, because they cut off water and for some time some people did not have water. Yes, Molly. Yes. That was bad. That was really bad.
Well, water for more than a day? People didn't have water?
I mean, not like a whole day, maybe before, yeah, for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were working and then they cut some pipe and then we had to call them back and then they came back and they fixed it because it was leaking. It's not on my streets, okay? It's not on my street. It's just on the streets.
Yes.
That road was so good, but now it's something else.
Wow. All right. So Janet, anything else to add to interim recommendations?
Yeah, I had to silence my microphone. My husband just came in. So anyway, I agree with the as far as the bike paths. The problem is because I live off of Bay Road and I tried to walk there with a carriage and a baby. It was very dangerous.
Yeah.
As well as I remember the sidewalk issue on 27 when they weren't going to have a bus way back when to the Hanson. So, and I live very close to Central Street, the Central Street that goes right into Bay Road. So believe me, I know about that. So we should definitely look into the bike paths as well as things with construction on the main roads. I mean, not the residential, that's something else. And we do get notified about flushing of water when it's the town, that they do give us notifications in different ways. So I think it's all about communication. I mean, I think that's what communication is, what makes things work, not good communication, not bad or no communication. So basically I will come back with some stuff. I'm like James, I haven't really thought about some other things because of what's been going on in my life, but I will be ready at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're into an hour and a half, so I'm going to try to go really fast. If we can move on to the next item. Special election, just to mention it, it's tomorrow. It's for the new South School, and I'm not going to tell people how to vote. All I am going to say is that I did attend one presentation by the architects. It is extremely sustainably designed, and it does have a geothermal heat element to it. I mean, it's not completely geothermal, but it's really cutting edge. So just so everybody's aware, there is a special election tomorrow. Next, other business that cannot be anticipated, just a couple of things. There is, and I didn't hear back on this, there's a Juneteenth, obviously it's June 19th, and there's a celebration at the high school. I believe there's going to be vendors there. I've reached out to try to find out, could we and or the sustainability committee have a table, and haven't heard back from that. If I hear back from that, if anybody wants to join me at the table, but I haven't gotten the okay yet. But I just, again, it's just about visibility, having our climate survey responded to and filled out more. And I'd also like to say that the library is doing certain things involving sustainability issues with its adult reading program. Because I was told that by one of the library employees that some of their employees are town meeting members and they didn't like how we were treated. So they're trying to do positive things on sustainability, and which is great. So public comment, I don't think we have anybody present for public comment. And I will say, with respect to scheduling the next meeting, we will have to get that figured out. We are now in vacation season, various and sundry people are on vacation. So I will just say, stay tuned. It is not clear. I do not expect that we're going to have a meeting 2 weeks from now, this Monday. But I will circle back to people and figure out what it is. Certainly we'll have at least one in-depth meeting in July. We'll finalize our interim recommendations, and hopefully we'll hear from MAPC and maybe even get them to come to an in-person meeting or a virtual or a hybrid meeting, I should say. It would be great to meet somebody in person. So anything else to wrap up? I guess we're at the end of our agenda. Does anybody want to make a motion to close the meeting?
Love to. Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All right, thank you. All in favor? We're going to do roll call, starting with Rachel.
Aye.
James,
aye.
Michael,
Yes.
yes. Aisha?
Aye.
Oh, thank you. Okay, and Janet? All right, yes to closing the meeting?
Muted, Janet.
Okay, all right, so we're close. And thank you, everybody, for coming. And I thank also the town meeting members who came during May as well. It was like hugely crowded schedule for May. So I hope everybody enjoys the rest of June, and we will circle back. Thanks for your patience and for making it through the agenda tonight.
Oh,
Take care,
Do we
everybody.
know when the next meeting is?
We don't know. I'll be in touch with you, okay?
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.